On the tinsel front is a dramatized reading of letters written by an American soldier, Corporal Oliver Whelan, to his sister Elizabeth during World War II. These letters were discovered 4 decades after the war in the attic of a London home. This is Season 1, Episode 5, Lunch with Father.
April 2nd, 1943. Dear Bet, it's been a couple days since that afternoon on the beach with Elle. Angry at her for standing me up, I went back to Burbank determined to put her out of my mind. Only that was easier said than done. Meanwhile, 2 amazing things happened here on the Warners lot. First, yesterday as I headed over to dinner, I ran into Toes.
Lollipop, just the man I'm looking for. Tonight around 8, come by our tent.
Okay, why?
That's for me to know and you to find out.
I did as he said. When I got there, I found that the bunks had been pushed to the side, making room for 2 sheets of plywood laid flat on the ground in the center of the room. It was on these sheets that Toes and the guys were having some kind of tap dance competition. The tent was packed, not just Toes and his gang, but other soldiers. Spoons explained.
We start shooting a Harlem number tomorrow. Since we haven't been dancing in a while, we thought we'd do a little warm-up.
It was amazing to watch. These men could dance.
All right, Toes, you just showing out now.
And it was obvious that Toes had been pulling my leg. He was clearly nicknamed Toes because of his prowess in tap shoes. The man standing next to me was appreciative.
That's the way to do it.
I turned to see who he was. He looked really familiar, and I couldn't help but stare. He noticed my attention and reacted by offering his hand.
Hi, I'm Joe.
I almost fainted. It was Joe Louis, the boxer. I heard that he had been cast in the movie, but I didn't believe it. But here he was. In a daze, I took his offered hand. Ollie, nice to meet you. Toes spotted me.
Lollipop, there you are. Come on out here and show us what you can do.
Me? No, I can't dance. I've never danced.
Well then, if you've never danced, then you don't know if you can. Get on out there. Give it a try.
Oh, please, guys, don't do this to me.
Don't worry, I'll teach you. Somebody get this boy a pair of shoes.
I tried to escape, but they grabbed me, sat me down, forced my feet into a pair of tap shoes, and pushed me out onto the plywood.
Now just relax, Lollipop. Watch, listen, and do what I say.
All right, that's a new one. I ain't seen that one before. All right now.
Bet? It was a miracle. I was tap dancing. And then this morning, the guys arranged for me to come on set and watch them shoot their number. That's what the best-dressed man in Harlem will wear. It's a song about soldiers trading in their smart civilian clothes for army khaki. Joe Louis is part of it, doing a workout on a speed bag. When I was leaving the stage, I saw a man I recognized and never thought I'd see in Hollywood. It was the cartoonist who publishes under the name Dr. Seuss, and he was in uniform with captain bars. He was talking to someone. I waited until they were done, then intercepted him as he headed for the stage door. Captain Geisel, sir?
Yes?
Excuse me for intruding, but I saw you and just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Oliver Whelan, Dartmouth, class of 44. At least I was until I dropped out to enlist.
Well, thank you, Oliver. It's always a pleasure to meet someone from my old alma mater.
I attended that talk you gave at the college in the spring of 41.
Ah.
My roommate Larry was writing for Jacko. He was a big fan of Dr. Seuss and insisted I come along. I was really glad I did.
That's nice of you to say.
After that, I made sure I read every cartoon you did for PM. I really admired the way you took a stand against Lindbergh and the isolationists. I didn't know you were in the Army.
Oh, for only a few months so far. Frank Capra drafted me for his Signal Corps unit out here.
Are you involved in this movie?
Oh, no, just visiting a friend in the cast. What about you? Are you part of this? That's a long way from Dartmouth to Hollywood.
Just as an extra in the big numbers. Long story.
Well, remember it so you can tell your grandkids what you did in the war.
Oh, I will.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
Oliver, sir. Oliver Whelan.
Oliver, yes. Well, best of luck to you.
After shaking my hand, he turned to leave. Then stopped and swung back around.
Whelan? You by chance related to the Whelan of Whelan Hall?
That would be my father, sir. Patrick Whelan, class of 16.
Huh.
He was also a fan of your PM cartoons. It was one of the few things we agreed on.
If I recall correctly, your family's in the armament business?
Yes, sir. Also pots and pans.
It's no wonder your father liked my PM panels. He probably wanted us to get into the war in '39.
Let's just say he wouldn't have complained.
Now I'm intrigued as to why you're here. Unfortunately, I've got to run. But maybe Oliver will run into each other again. They say Hollywood is a small town. Meanwhile, I'm at the Fox studio on Western. If you ever find yourself over there, stick your head in.
I'll do that, sir. It was a great pleasure meeting you.
Same here. So long.
As I watched him leave, I thought of our young cousin Davy, who made me read Horton Hatches the Egg to him at least 50 times. Dear Bet, today's shoot was a little hard. Emotionally, that is. We shot what they called the Air Corps number, a tribute to Army Air Force pilots. They built a replica of a bomber on the stage. It was just the front end and the wings weren't complete, but it looked amazingly real, especially in the dim lighting designed to simulate a dawn sky. Dressed in bomber jackets to look like we were flight crews preparing for a raid, we walked around the plane, looking busy. Given my failure at flight school, it was agony to pretend to be a pilot. If I hadn't washed out, I'd be one by now, in final training before shipping out. What was so strange was that as I moved around the stage pretending to be a pilot, for a few moments it felt as if I really was one. That I was on a Pacific airfield. That I had realized my dream.
Cut! Stop! Sorry, everyone. Problem with the camera. Back to the beginning.
It was at that moment I resolved to somehow get out of Hollywood and get into the fight, no matter what it took. When we finished the last take, I was surprised to hear someone calling out my name.
Is there a Private Whelan here? Whelan? Oliver Whelan?
Well, that's me.
Hey, buddy. They called over from Stage 5. I don't know why, but go over there and report to a Lieutenant Reagan.
Okay, thanks. Afraid of what this might be about, I walked to Stage 5, where it turned out Reagan was shooting one of his scenes for the movie.
Open your heart, Johnny. We're all in this fight together, women as well as men. Let's share our responsibilities.
Joan Leslie plays the girl Reagan's in love with, but doesn't want to marry out of fear of making her a widow. Having brought a chaplain backstage to marry them, she's having none of that.
I want to be a part of you, Johnny, the part that goes with you on the battlefield, someone to come back to. This is a free United States. Doggone it, if we want to get married, let's get married.
Could you cut it a little short, sir? I'm in the next number.
Well, rationing is the order of the day. We'll need witnesses.
Hey, Frank, can you get my father?
Sure.
Mine too.
Okay.
Forgive me, honey.
You ought to be ashamed. I even had to buy a ring.
And cut! Print it. Let us move forward.
20-minute break, people, while we set up for the vows.
Lieutenant Reagan.
Oh, Whelan. There you are. You got my message.
Yes, sir.
I didn't think I'd be seeing you again. So, how's it going? You enjoying this?
I have to admit I am, sir. It's been an experience.
We'll turn you into an actor yet.
You asked to see me because... Is there still a problem?
Oh, no. That's water under the bridge. At least as far as I know. No, something else. Come with me to my dressing room.
It was there that he opened his briefcase, pulled out an envelope, and handed it to me.
The Army, still thinking you're at Fort Roach, this telegram came for you there. Miller sent it over, along with one addressed to me. I'm most curious what yours contains, Whelan. Mine was from a Colonel Newcomb in Washington, D.C. He requested that you be granted leave this coming Friday. I can only assume that your telegram reveals the reason for that leave.
I opened the telegram. It was 4 lines long.
We'll be at the Biltmore Hotel Friday, April 9. Stop. Expect you for lunch at noon. Stop. Leave for you has been arranged. Stop. Father. Stop.
So this was it. The summons.
Well?
It's from my father, sir. He's in town and wants me to have lunch with him. My father is...
I know who your father is, so none of this is a surprise. I'll talk to whoever is in charge here, so there won't be any problem with you having the time off. Well, have a good lunch. Where, if I might ask, are you meeting him?
The Biltmore, sir.
Ah. I suggest the Cobb salad. It's excellent there.
I'll keep that in mind, sir. Thank you, sir.
And now I need to get back on the set.
Yes, sir. And thank you, sir. I saluted and left. The day of reckoning had come. I suspected our father would have a proposition for me. How would I respond? Not knowing what Friday would bring, I felt the need to see Elle. At dinner on Wednesday with Toes and the gang. Hey guys, I'm thinking of going to the Hollywood Canteen tomorrow night. Any of you want to come?
No. It's a nice place and all, and hats off to the movie people behind it, but it's not for us.
Really? I thought it was...
Oh, we're allowed in and all, but we're expected to keep to ourselves. You know.
Besides, Lollipop, if you want to hear good music and let loose on the floor, there are a lot better places. You should come with us down to Central Avenue.
What's that?
Oh, Lollipop, the things we have to teach you.
It's where the jazz clubs are, south of downtown. Some of the best music west of Harlem. Hell, some might say even better.
Yeah, Lollipop, forget the canteen. Come with us, and we'll show you the real Los Angeles.
Well, that sounds great. But, well, I'm going to the canteen because of a girl.
Ooh. Lollipop is sweet on someone.
Somebody done found himself a woman.
Who is it, Lolly?
Stop it, you guys.
Maybe we ought to go with him to the canteen so we could see this, honey.
I told them enough about Elle to get them off my back. And after all their ribbing, I was glad they weren't coming with me. So the next night, I headed off to the canteen by myself. I still felt foolish for pursuing her and could hear Shelley's warnings in my head, but I couldn't help myself. And I was worried for her. There was a long line of servicemen waiting to get in. Joining it, I was told by a Marine who had been there before that it moved relatively quickly. Servicemen were told not to spend longer than an hour inside, so others would have a turn. And there was much talk among the men as to which movie stars they would see. But all I could think about was Elle. Standing in line, it struck me just how young most of us were, and how eager and rambunctious. We weren't much different from a bunch of high schoolers on a field trip. Goofing off, making dumb comments, and not having a care in the world. Finally, I was inside. It was a nifty place, done up like a Western saloon. A big band was playing, and the dance floor was packed. There was lots of free food, and there were movie stars. I recognized Marlena Dietrich, Betty Grable, and a few who looked familiar but whose names I couldn't place. It took me a while to spot Elle, but I finally did. She was on the dance floor doing the jitterbug with a soldier. Needless to say, she was popular. There were guys vying to dance with her and cutting in when they could. I was jealous, but wasn't about to join them. She was giving herself fully to each guy, doing her best to make sure he felt special. As I watched her and thought back to her weeping on the beach, I couldn't help but wonder if she was giving so much, there wasn't any left for her. Elle saw me and smiled. I rolled my eyes at all the attention she was getting. She rolled her eyes back, acknowledging it, then raised a finger as if to say, "Give me a minute and I'll be with you."
I'm next, Elle.
No, I am.
Hey, boys. You'll all get your turn. But this dance is for my cousin Ollie here, who is shipping out tomorrow, and who I may never see again.
And with that, she stepped away from her many suitors and held out her hand to me.
No way. That's
You
not
can't
fair.
do that. We've been waiting.
The soldiers weren't happy, but couldn't complain given the cousin fiction Elle had spun. I was thrilled that it was a slow dance, and that I could hold her, and that we could talk. You're popular, Elle.
No more than any of the other junior hostesses.
Oh, you really don't believe that?
Well, maybe a little bit more. It's good, though, to be wanted, isn't it?
I guess. I wouldn't really know.
I used to think there couldn't be anything better than having the whole world love you. But I don't know anymore.
Is everything okay, Elle? You scared me a bit when we were on the beach.
Did I?
You were really sad about something.
Was I? I suppose I was.
What was it? Can you tell me?
I'm just tired, that's all.
I'm seeing my father tomorrow. It may have been my imagination, but she seemed to tense up when I said the word father.
Your father? Did he come all the way from Connecticut?
Yeah.
That's a long way for a visit.
Yeah. Well, I never told you or Shelley this, but, well, my father is a bigwig, and he's in Los Angeles for business, with the government. It's a long story, but I'm probably here because of him, and I'm not really looking forward to seeing him.
Is he a good man?
That's a funny question. No one's asked me that before.
Well, is he?
Yeah, I guess so. Used to getting his way.
Did he ever beat you or anything?
Oh, no.
Does he love you?
Yes. I mean, as far as I know.
Then consider yourself lucky.
And with that, she rested her head on my chest, and for a moment held me a little tighter. I wish the song would never end, because for some reason I can't explain, I was suddenly afraid to let her go. And then, she stopped dead on the floor, forcing me to do the same. I looked at her to see why and found her staring towards the canteen's entrance, her face white. As I turned to see what she was looking at, she pulled me off the dance floor in the opposite direction.
Look, Ollie, I have to go.
What? Why?
I'm not feeling very well. I just need to go home.
Oh, okay. Then let me take you.
No, that's okay. I'll be fine. You stay and have a good time. You deserve it.
But Only she took off, quickly disappearing into the crowd. Confused, I looked back toward the entrance to see what it was that spooked her, but there was just a wave of servicemen.
Hey, where'd she go?
She ran off and looked upset.
I had the next dance.
What did you say to her, asshole?
Family business, I replied as I pushed through the crowd in the direction Elle fled. It took me a while to weave through all the people, but I got to a door that led backstage and through which other junior hostesses were coming and going. Only it was guarded by a very large soldier. Did a girl named Elle come through here?
And what business is it of yours, buddy?
Well, she wasn't well. I was concerned.
Maybe she just wanted to get away from you.
No, you don't understand. I'm her cousin.
That's what they all say. Beat it, kid. Junior hostesses are not allowed to see servicemen outside the canteen. So give it up, grab another cookie for the road, and leave, so some other Joe has a turn.
I started to protest, but knew he'd never let me through. And given his size, I knew that if I forced it, I'd come out on the losing end. So I took off for the entrance, moving as fast as I could. Once outside, I went around to the back, hoping to catch Elle there. But she was nowhere to be seen. And there was an even bigger guard. If she had left, she was long gone. I could only hope that she was okay. And again wondered what or who it was she had seen. I contemplated heading to Lois's to make sure she got home okay. But I had to be back for parade and drills in the morning. And lunch with Father. As I headed to the Biltmore Hotel the next day, I wondered what he would say. And I remembered how upset he had been with you, Bet. First when you announced you were going to nursing school, then when you revealed you were going to London. I was young enough the first time to hate all the yelling. And when we were alone, I asked you whether it was right to disobey him. I'll never forget what you said.
You don't understand, Ollie. Given half a chance, our father will be a bully, and it's our job not to let him be one. I'm doing this for him as much as I am for me.
I also remember the concern you expressed for me.
I have it easy, Ollie. He just wants me to marry Bobby Masterson or some other wealthy jerk. But you, well, he expects you to be his heir and run the business. You think he's upset now. Just wait. Someday, you'll have to figure out what you want, Ollie. And then I hope you stand up to him, too.
Well, Ben, I stood up to him when I enlisted. The dream of flying gave me the strength. But now that dream is gone. I don't know if I have the energy to do it again. Father had, typically, taken over the Biltmore's restaurant as if he owned it. He had the most desirable table in the room. He was talking to the waiter as I stepped up. Seeing me for the first time in 6 months, his words were not, "There you are, son, so good to see you, give me a hug." No. It was as if he had seen me just the night before.
Oliver, I was going to order you a steak, figuring you don't get many of them, but is there something else you'd like?
I hear the Cobb salad is good. I'll try that.
A Cobb? What's in that?
I have no idea. The waiter left and we awkwardly settled in.
You look like you've lost some weight.
Maybe. I don't know. So what brings you to Los Angeles?
Ammunition, as always. For airplanes here, then up to San Francisco for ships. We're tripling capacity at all our plants. Shifts around the clock.
They fly you out?
Caught a ride with a general. A little bumpy over the Rockies.
He's aged, Bet. His hair's getting really gray. There's an edge to his eyes. He looked tired. He's clearly working too much.
Your English cousin, Reggie, Sylvia's boy. You remember him, don't you?
Of course. Royal Navy, right?
Was. His destroyer was hit by a U-boat. He went down with it.
Oh, God. So sorry to hear that. He loved to torment me, but I liked him. He could be really funny.
Yes. He was a good boy.
How's Mother handling it?
Well enough, considering. It's hard not to be there for her sister.
He reached into his briefcase and pulled out a box.
From your mother. It's those chocolates from Bridgeport you like. She misses you desperately, Oliver. Try to write more. An occasional phone call would also be appreciated. You can, of course, reverse the charges.
The food came quickly. Both of us avoiding the real reason for the lunch, he caught me up on what was happening back home. But after they cleared our dishes, the subject could no longer be avoided.
I'm sorry the flying thing didn't work out.
Oh, you could just feel how hard it was for him to phrase it this way. instead of the "I told you so" that was surely in his mind. I suspect Mother had instructed him to at least feign sympathy.
Now we need to talk about what happens next.
It was you who got me sent out here to Hollywood, wasn't it?
It was a chance for you to take a step back and to have some time to think about the future.
I applied for a transfer to the infantry. You must have killed that too.
There are other ways to fight a war, Oliver.
I want to be in the fight.
Lugging a 100-pound pack? Eating mud in a foxhole? Getting your legs blown off?
If that's what it takes.
You've got a brain, Oliver, and a good one. Fight for your country with it. You tried to use it as a pilot. I was opposed, but I admired you for that. Because it didn't work out, you don't have to punish yourself by becoming a GI.
It's not punishment. It's an honor.
Just hear me out, okay? Sure, you go into the regular army, but into officer training. As a lieutenant, you go to Washington, work as an aide to General Sullivan, who's already agreed to take you on. You learn everything. You help in the big decisions. You make a real difference. Meanwhile, it's an amazing apprenticeship. When the war is over, you finish your degree at Dartmouth, then come into the company as my vice president. You'll already know the business as well as I do.
That sounds suspiciously like your wartime experience.
Yes, it does. And that's why I want it for my son. You have to look at the big picture, Oliver, and what the world is going to be after the war.
It was essentially the same proposition he had made before I enlisted in the Air Force. It didn't sound any more appealing, but this time I found myself actually tempted. It would be so easy to simply step into the life he had planned for me. I wouldn't have to think. I wouldn't have to figure out what to do. I didn't realize it until that moment, Bet. But I was tired. The year had taken a toll. And if I refuse?
Then, I'm sorry to say, you'll spend the rest of the war here, doing whatever it is they do here. Go ahead. Submit a transfer request to a combat unit. Put one in every day. Every single one will be rejected.
You can't do that!
Oh, I can. The Army needs me and my company more than it needs another boy to stick in front of a Japanese or German machine gun.
Looking in his eyes, I knew he was dead serious and wouldn't change his mind in a million years. Forgive me, but I brought you into it. I had to. You know, if she was here, Bet would be furious with you.
Of course I do. That's what makes this so hard. So, what do you say, Oliver? Do we have a deal?
I found myself wanting to say yes.
Someday, you'll have to figure out what you want, Ollie.
But I was afraid that if I did, a day wouldn't pass without me feeling ashamed.
Given half a chance, our father will be a bully, and it's our job not to let him be one.
I tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come out, so I stood up. That's when he did a surprising thing, Bet. He grabbed my wrist, as if to stop me from going.
Please, Ollie. Our family has given enough. Don't make it give any more.
Taking his hand, I clasped it in mine and held it. I'm sorry, Father, but no. I have to live my own life, not yours. If that means spending the war here, so be it. Thanks for lunch. Tell Mother I'll call. Have a safe trip back.
Ollie.
Afraid to stay a second longer, I let go of his hand, turned, and left. Walking out of the hotel, I didn't know what to do. For what had to have been an hour, I just walked around the streets of downtown LA, wondering if I had done the right thing, wondering if I should run back and tell him I had changed my mind. Finally, unable to bring myself to go back to Warner's, I caught the red car to Culver City and the only family that at that moment I felt I had. Getting off the train, I walked to Lois's. As I neared it, I saw something that made me stop. There was a police car parked outside.
On the Tinsel Front is written, produced, and directed by Christopher Bomba. The role of Oliver Weiland is voiced by Brian Stanton. Joining him in this episode is Dante Alexander as Toes, Mike Price as Stump and Joe Lewis, Caleb A. Fields as Spoons, Sufyan Mahmoud as Willy Boy, Alan Blumenfeld as Ted Geisel, Jonah Weiland as Assistant Director No. 1 and Canteen Soldier No. 2, Gabriel Oliva as Ronald Reagan, Tom O'Connor as the Chaplain, Chris Bomba as Frank, Zane Acord as Michael Curtiz and Canteen Soldier No. 1, John Katona as Assistant Director No. 2 and the Canteen Guard, Samara Frame as Elle, Robbie Trombetta as Bet, Chris Côté as Ollie's father, Patrick Whelan, and me, Mary Bomba, as Joan Leslie and your host. While On the Tinsel Front purports to tell a true story, all the characters are fictional, except for the real-life personalities, some more recognizable than others, who actually served in the wartime positions they do here. For more information about these people, Hollywood during World War II, and the actors, visit the podcast website at onthetinselfront.com.